Report.
Everything's status quo, sir.
Very well. If anyone needs me, I'll be in my ready room.
Hello, and welcome to the Readier Room, the only and longest-running Star Trek The Next Generation rewatch podcast. Every week, we rewatch an episode of Star Trek The Next Generation and bring you, yes, you, all of the behind-the-scenes stories that made the magic happen on the set. My name is Mitchell Mells, Chief Consultant of Services, and with me is my life partner, Brandon Hobbs, former Head of Resources Management at Paramount. Brandon, how are we doing today?
Okay.
Oh.
I was just reminded that Billie Eilish won an Oscar.
Really? Was
Yeah.
that for Best Director?
It was for her song in No Time to Die.
Ah, that's the James Bond prequel.
Yes, the James Bond flick.
Yes.
The Bond flick, the Bond joint, if you will.
Right. This is the one where he plays an actual bondsman.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
It's the one where Daniel Craig continues to be unattractive.
You know, I've known some older women to be really into Daniel Craig. His ruggedness is something they cite as a positive. Which, to me, it feels like a polite thing that a grandma would say about, like,
No,
her ugly grandson.
Ruggedness. There's ruggedness. Don't get me wrong, but Daniel Craig looks like an alcoholic Russian dude you'd find in like a Chernobyl adjacent village. Maybe just like more fit.
Okay. And dressed in a
You know?
suit like a monkey.
Yeah, like a monkey. Yeah, exactly. I mean, he does kind of look like a monkey too.
It's true. That's true. Now, do you think that James Bond needs to have a certain amount of a certain debonair quality to him, or do you think that there's room for a rugged Bond?
Well, I've never read the books,
Okay.
so I don't know what he's supposed to be like
So
per se.
you're a
but
James Bond secondary, is what you're saying?
I would say we're all very used to him being that kind of suave kind of character.
Okay.
And that's what we all want to see. We want to see him fucking nonstop.
Well, there's different ways of fucking, and you can ruggedly fuck. I think.
Rape adjacent.
I mean, yeah, but look at him. There's a big difference between that and like, oh, I'm going to lay a Halle Berry inside of an ice hotel while drifting my car on a frozen lake, or whatever it is Pierce Brosnan does in his free time other than feed his fat wife.
And it's certainly a far cry from being shrunk down and I just think Daniel Craig is unpleasant to look at.
I don't necessarily agree, but I agree with the core of what you're saying, if not to the extent to which you're saying it. So I can see that. Now, was that movie any good?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Another Day to Die?
No time for another day.
Doctor No Time to Die?
This one is called No Time to Die. What was the other Time to Die one?
It's Time to Die. I don't know.
Hold on. James Bond films.
Yeah, get the James Bond chronology up.
Tomorrow Never Dies.
Oh, I see. That was Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Okay. It's no Quantum of Solace insofar as the title game.
Then there's Die Another Day.
Terrible song.
No Time to Die Another Day Tomorrow.
I liked, if we're talking about the music, Billie Eilish, I liked the Wings joint, Live and Let Die, with that really silly strings part. Or maybe it was the synthesizer, I forget.
What are you talking about?
The Paul McCartney one. Live and Let Die. from like the 70s or the 80s or whatever. You know, like,
We still talking about Bond films?
yeah, the fucking theme
I haven't
song.
watched any of these.
Oh my god, neither have I, but I've heard the music. You've definitely heard Live and Let Die before.
No, yeah, I have.
What's wrong with you?
I guess Oh no, because we were talking about it in the context of Bond, and it got me all messed up.
I circled back around to Billie Eilish, the Bond theme songs. You said she won an Oscar.
She did win an Oscar. What does that have to do with Paul McCartney or whatever?
Live and Let Die was the theme song of the Bond movie. What is wrong with you? I swear.
Billie Eilish has some big knockers, though, huh?
Yeah, but you're not allowed to say that.
Kind of hard to tell in these Oscar pictures. Did she get them like reduced, or did she just get less fat?
Did she also wear an oversized hoodie to the Oscars?
No, she wore an oversized dress. Dress? Question mark.
Burlap sack.
It looks sackish.
Like
I can't tell if she's fat.
I mean, she's probably fat-ish. Billy fattish. I don't know.
She disturbs me because she looks like my older sister when she was young.
Was your older sister also with big badonkadonks?
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
It's kind of been weighing on my mind.
I assure you, they've been weighing on her for her entire adult life.
What if her name is actually Billie Irish, but a Japanese man named her when she came out of the womb? She's a Japanese doctor. Oh, beer.
I would say that this revelation raises more questions than answers.
Does it beg the question?
I beg the question. Please give me the question.
No.
I've heard roughly 45 seconds of Bad Guy, and that's all I know about Billie Eilish.
The part where it goes doo 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 doo.
Yeah.
Doo 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 doo.
Someone told me it sounded like the Plants vs. Zombies theme song, and then I said, I don't know what that sounds like. And then they said, listen to this, and I said, okay. And that's how I heard Billie Eilish.
Did you ever figure out if it sounded like the Plants vs. Zombies theme song?
No, I quickly lost interest.
It probably does, though. That sounds like something that Plant vs. Zombies would be set to, you know? Like it's like a 10-second
loop,
flash game loop,
right? Yeah, I mean, and
that your kid would play on CartoonNetwork.com.
Yeah, I had to block that website
just
to increase productivity.
Right. Yeah. In your sweatshop.
Yeah. I don't know why I had a computer in there at all, to be honest, but.
Just for research purposes.
Yeah, I mean, it's the China approach where it basically has its own internet at a certain point. What is it?
Right.
Weeblo? Weeblio?
So it's like Weibo, I think is what
Weibo.
It's called.
I see. Weibo.
Which sounds suspiciously like the Spanish word for egg.
Go on.
That's all I had.
Did I ever tell you my Japanese egg joke?
Definitely, but let's hear it.
When did the Japanese start eating eggs?
When?
A long, long time ago.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. You have told me that one.
Was it better the
you
second
told
time?
Everyone that one. No, actually, it was worse. But I think I enjoyed it the first time.
Oh, I'll take that.
Yeah.
So, we're here today. We've convened to answer a question of the week, and still not yet talk about Star Trek. But This week's question of the week comes from Inner Sloth, which I don't know if that's like a parable, like Inner Sloth, Outer Speed or something. But Inner Sloth asks, "Hello, Admirals. We're big fans of TNG here at Inner Sloth. We noticed that Allegiance is coming up soon in your episode queue, and we wanted to go on the record to state that the idea of Among Us and an imposter was all inspired by Picard in this episode. Just a fun fact. Remember to try horse mode on April Fool's Day." And it's a little earlier. I saved it because they wanted to talk about this episode. Cecily, Readier, Inner Sloth.
What?
I chose this because they mentioned this week's episode by name, but I was hoping you could explain the contents of this message to me.
Among Us. Let's state the idea of Among Us and an imposter. Among Us. Horse mode.
Among Us.
I have no idea what they're getting at here.
So who is among us right now? There's you and me.
Yep.
And the ensigns.
The ensigns. Is there someone that we don't know that's among us? Are they trying to tell us that there's someone listening in right now?
Oh God, they're jacking into the podcast live?
Yeah. Now I'm worried that we might be getting our views stolen.
That wasn't the plot of Allegiance, right? So it's not, I mean, kinda. There was an imposter Picard.
Yeah, so he could be impostering us on different streaming services.
Are you a changeling? Have you been...
Me?
Yeah, have you been taken over?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a changeling per se. I mean, sometimes what I do in my personal time isn't really your business, Mitch.
Well, I'm just wary of any changelings and transitioners inside of, assuming the identity. Some kind of pod people.
Well, you know what they say about changelings and their survivability rate.
Go on.
At least half of them kill themselves.
It sounds like something a changeling would say.
What?
Yeah. Do the blood test.
Sorry?
Everyone knows to test a changeling, you cut open the skin, and if real blood comes out, they're not a changeling.
You really think a changeling couldn't replicate blood?
Cut yourself.
If that's what's going to convince you.
Yeah, it won't convince me 100%, but it is a start.
Hold on, let me get my box cutter out here.
You can use
right,
our replica Klingon ceremonial blade if you'd like.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? All right. Yeah. 3, 2,
okay.
1.
All right, you're not a changeling.
There you go. Yeah,
all right, you just have to be sure. Someone gives us a tip like this, you can never be too safe.
I understand the concern. Get our producer to get me a bandage. Can you give me a bandage?
They're behind in the drawer.
No, the other one.
Under.
No, that one. That right there. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, we'll be fine here.
So the issue is though now, Jesus, that fucking kills. Who is the changeling?
Right. Well, can't be me.
You haven't proven yourself to me yet.
Well, I'm not going to, but it couldn't be me because I chose this question. If I wouldn't bring suspicion upon myself by bringing this question up. So, obviously not me. But, if you at home know who the changeling is, that is among us, please send a question of the week to the Readier Room at gmail.com with a capital T and 2 capital R's, but not that capital R. Or you can tweet at us at the Readier Room, and we'll discover the imposter together. And eventually we'll try horse mode.
Yeah, horse mode. Yeah, we didn't even talk about horse mode.
Is this like a centaur? Like a type of centaur?
I don't know.
You know what a centaur is?
Yeah, if what I'm thinking is correct, I mean, I've seen a guy try horse mode. It didn't end too well for him.
No. No, what was it? Mr. Horse Mode?
Mr. Arms.
Yeah, I Real sicko mode, horse mode.
So they may be telling us to kill ourselves.
Well, we get those messages a lot. We always did.
Do you think he experienced some kind of pleasure before he died, or was it all just pain
during horse mode?
Mm-hmm.
No, I think that it was all pain. I mean, you know how it is when something goes up there when you're not quite ready for it.
Yeah,
it's like a wall you got to break down before you even get to the pleasurable feeling, and in that process, his too many of his organs were ruptured.
Yeah, just scrambled.
Yeah. It's like a reverse lobotomy. You know how they shove like a hook up there and swiggle it around. And now it's at the other end.
Just your daily reminder to never put anything bigger than a bad dragon up there.
Yeah, and God forbid you put something made of glass up there. Not that horse's penis was made of glass, but that's a corollary.
just don't clench.
Yeah. That's another video. You ever see that one?
I don't think so.
The jar?
Oh, I've heard of it, but no, I haven't seen it.
That's a required viewing.
I have seen it's required viewing to be a host of the Readier Room.
Yeah. Just so you get all my references.
I'm sorry that wasn't on my application. I have seen prolapses though.
I've only seen time lapses. Anyway, that'll do it.
This is the part where you insert jazz music into the silence.
Oh, I do a lot of editing on this show. You know that.
Yeah.
And our editors also do a lot of editing. It's a lot of work that goes into this production.
Yeah. People don't really understand that.
Yeah. It's not
we
just...
actually have a 6-hour conversation every day that gets cut down into what you're listening to now.
Right. It's not just sitting down and talking. A lot of people, they start a podcast. I'm just going to sit down and I'm going to talk. Right. They don't write anything. They don't prepare anything. They don't edit anything. They don't buy the audio equipment. They don't sit up with nice posture to get the right reverberation inside of their body.
Right,
they don't do anything. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, you really think your opinion's that interesting?
Right.
People want to listen to you?
No.
Come on now. Please.
Have some self-awareness. Don't fucking embarrass yourself. And others.
Mm-hmm.
So, this week, we watched Allegiance, episode of TNG.
We did.
I don't know what you thought about it, and I guess I'll start with my opinion for this week.
You always start with your opinion.
Then go ahead, you start. I thought you started last week. It's the only reason I said that.
No, you started last week.
All right, go.
And I think you started the week before last.
All right, well, who's on trial here? You go ahead.
Who's on first?
That's right.
Okay, fine. If you insist, I'll go. I'll go first. I thought on a technical level, this episode was really, really. I mean, in terms of acting, in terms of makeup, especially those two things, were this episode was really good.
You like the acting that much, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it was
Patrick.
I'm not saying it was bad. It didn't register as so much of a positive to me.
Patrick, I think, was incredible in this episode because he managed to play as his doppelganger. It was still Picard, but like you could tell in basically every scene that something was off, and it wasn't so in your face as he's always doing something wacky. Because a lot of those things were things that you could see Picard saying, maybe not with that affectation, but he was often very reserved, but still slightly different from how he would usually perform the character, which I thought showed a lot of skill in his ability to not just immediately jump to playing a wacky, crazy, almost mirror universe self that I feel like a lot of other actors would. Yeah,
I guess I buy that. I certainly got that same kind of vibe from Patrick's performance, that it hit that mark of being uncanny, right? Similar but different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I agree.
And then so on top of that, you have the makeup, which I mean, it's not like the best thing ever, but for Trek for TV at the time, for the budget and all that stuff, you had some pretty cool. You had how do you say it? Esok,
I think
Esok, which was an incredibly intricate costume. We had to have a guy on hand for every Esok scene to be able to, like, some parts of it had to be taken off after every scene.
Right.
Just because I think they were actually like dangerous to the actor. I know the contact lenses had to be taken out after every scene. He couldn't keep wearing them, and I can't remember why, but
it was like, I don't know, Wizard of Oz-esque. You ever heard this story of the production of the Wizard of Oz?
No.
All right, then this might sound confusing, but what the deal was with that was that basically every actor, the materials involved in their costumes were just very hazardous to their health. For example, the lead inside of the paint that was applied to the Tin Man, or whatever. And the working conditions with them were such that everyone suffered some kind of physical trauma during production. Yeah. And this is not a joke. This is 100% true. And if you look it up, it's like everyone, for years afterwards, something stuck with them, some lasting condition that they got while on set. Yeah. So something like this, the Esok costume, very easy for me to believe. That's
hilarious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up later. But in terms of the other stuff in the episode, I thought it was it was interesting enough. I thought the little prison scenes and stuff, it was kind of a rehash of things we've already seen before in a lot of other media. The old, like, Agatha Christie type, let's what are we gonna do? Not trust each other and then devolve into chaos kind of thing.
Right.
It's nothing we haven't seen before, but I guess it gives Picard something to do, that's a little bit different, which is nice.
It didn't break new ground for sure, but I thought that those scenes were, on the whole, entertaining and also novel for TNG.
Yeah, sure.
If not fiction as a whole, obviously.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, like I said, it was interesting enough. The scenes on the Enterprise were paced well enough that I wasn't falling asleep or whatever, like I was with a few episodes this season.
That's like your favorite pastime, falling asleep during TNG.
Some of these episodes are just mind-numbing,
Yes.
Like they didn't know how to write a script. But in this case, I think everything works well. It's not going to be mind-blowing, but there are things this episode I think does not better, but differently than other episodes enough that it's worth watching on its own just because of that stuff.
Yeah, I buy that. I too have an overall positive impression of the episode, but I wasn't so thoroughly engaged throughout its runtime. My attention did waver now and again, but I wouldn't hold that against the episode too much because I can't identify anything I would so readily change or rewrite.
Where did you kind of zone out?
Some of the fake Picard stuff, and this might be a victim of me.
Really?
Let me expand a little bit. This might be a victim of me having seen the episode more than a couple of times within the past few years.
Right.
So
the novelty wears off.
Right. Because once you know what the score is, the Uncanny Valley Picard just loses a little bit of its luster. But again, I'm trying not to fault the episode for that because, on the first watch, it is quite appealing.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, most of these episodes I've only seen once or twice. You watch them when they air, you watch them on, VHS or DVD or whatever. I was never really one to rewatch the shows that we've worked on.
Right.
So, this was maybe my third or fourth time seeing it, and I'd forgotten completely, well, almost completely. I knew the general plot outline, but I'd forgotten most of the scenes except for the bar scene, of course.
The that old chestnut.
Yeah. So yeah, stuff like the Crusher scene I completely forgot even happened, which I thought was pretty funny.
I spent a lot of time thinking about that scene in context of the plot and why those aliens instigated that scene.
Right.
Which I never quite got my answer to.
I think that's definitely something we should wrap up with, is discussing that.
Yeah,
because that's you bring that up, and yes, I was wondering that too through the entire runtime of this episode, for pretty much everything. But yeah, I guess we'll get to that once we kind of hash through what was going on in the episode.
Hash browns.
Don't make me hungry. Oh, you making me hungry. You a bad girl. You making me hungry.
You're a snack.
I'm gonna shrink you down and put you in my mouth. I'm gonna shrink you down and put you in the fry pan, make you a hash brown.
So this episode starts out with the Enterprise saying it's on a mission to meet up with another ship.
Oh, wait. You skipped over the part where they had just finished eradicating a plague.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. Which, if you remember, one of the very first episodes of the show was them having trouble eradicating a plague.
How far we've come.
I thought it was funny just how offhand they mentioned this plague and how easy it seemed to have been dealt with. Although I guess they weren't dealing with... Was that the African episode? No. Yes?
They needed a vaccine in the African episode. I remember that. So...
What was the plague episode? Whatever.
That might have been it.
I don't want to say... yeah, they needed something from someone. They were dealing with, like, you know, this standoffish race. So I guess it probably was the African episode. Not for any reasons other than I just think it was.
Well, that does connect to parts of this episode's production. The Enterprise was going to meet up with the USS Hood, and I remember we contracted a bunch of extras from Harlem. We flew them into LA to play the crew of that ship, but that scene ended up getting cut in editing.
It did, yeah. Which is a shame. We had the Hood go through a few different iterations, I guess. And that was our first one, and that would have been great for representation, first of all. But we wanted to kind of subvert that after that fell through. There was going to be this idea that a few episodes, or maybe a season down the line, we'd have a follow-up episode that was kind of just going to be about the Hood,
right?
And it would be revealed that within the Federation, it would have been this dog whistle. The name of the ship would have been this dog whistle for this kind of splinter group within the Federation. And the Enterprise crew was going to have to put a stop to its well, they called them terraforming activities, but it would eventually be revealed to be kind of a euphemistic term. And the problem with that was that Barclay actually ended up being a much different character than I say we, but the writers had kind of devised. And once he had kind of developed an arc that moved away from his initial premise, we lost the anchor to that plot completely. So the Hood kind of remains in limbo.
That's true.
Now I think is it a ship of African Americans or a ship of whites only?
Do you think that when they inevitably bring it back in Picard 3, that it will retain the premise that everybody on the ship is male?
I don't think they can get away with that.
Well, I mean, it was a good idea. I mean, it would kind of play secondary to the two themes we were just discussing, but the idea is that, the ship would be composed entirely of young men.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be the boys in the hood.
Right. The boys in the hood. Yeah.
So I think that was a strong premise, regardless of if you took the black or the white angle.
What we should do is for Picard season 3 have an episode called Schrodinger's Hood.
Ooh, I like that.
And and we just incorporate all versions of this concept into one episode.
It'll be like that episode where Worf was jumping around the different parallel universes.
You mean your favorite episode?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Enterprise is off to terraform some planet with the Hood,
right?
Apparently, the USS Hood, and Picard gets abducted by
a rectangle
flat object. And what people don't know, at least they don't really see this in like encyclopedic material or whatever, is that abduction scene was actually filmed upside down. We had Patrick suspended, basically, with his face facing the ground, and what we did was we had like a blue screen, and we had like a large metallic surface reflecting the sky off of it, which is how you see the clouds and the the computer generated block thing. I was talking to Mike Okuda about this years ago, and yeah, so I guess what they did was they just flipped it, and that's how we got that scene. And Patrick wasn't even in the room at the time. He wasn't in that that set just for that particular abduction scene, which I thought was interesting.
I agree. Similar thing with the induction scenes in this episode, but I was big fan of our special effects team.
Yeah, we don't really show them enough love just because we don't really understand a lot of it,
but they are true wizards.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember one of them, that was his business card. He had, his name and then special effects wizard. And, we all kind of rolled our eyes when we read it, and I still do, but they're talented.
Well, I don't know if you heard, but he's actually become a special effects grand wizard now.
Really? Wow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess he got the last laugh.
He made it all the way to 30, huh? Mm-hmm. Good for him. So Picard gets abducted, and the crew is on it. They say, "Oh, there's a weird energy thing in Picard's room."
That's their words exactly.
That's the line. It's Data to Riker. "Commander, there appears to be a weird energy thing in the captain's quarters."
Riker does his eye thing. Worf absconds out of the room. And I'm sure you noticed this, but the doors kind of bounce off of each other when he enters the elevator. Our guys in the back had a little too much excitement going on, I guess. But
well, I mean, sometimes everyone, and no matter what job you do in the world, everybody's like this. You just kind of, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me.
Oh, God bless you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
Bless me.
And that's a thing. That's a thing that Zoomers don't understand these days. You don't bless anyone. God blesses them.
Right. But anyway, no matter what job you're doing, whether it's in Hollywood or not, actor, production, accountant, garbage man, there's some percentage of the time you do it inebriated, and so such were our door guys that day.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I mean, plenty of the cast showed up inebriated.
That's right. The only way to get through a production shoot with Gene hovering over you.
So yeah, Picard shows. Oh wait, no, yeah, Worf shows up at Picard's door, and Picard's just there, right? He's totally
he's got his drink, and he's like, "Problem, Lieutenant?"
And he does the epic troll face,
right? And then Worf does that thing where he like inhales a lot, and his shoulders rise up like 2 feet, and because he doesn't really know how to act otherwise.
And then he goes, "Oh!"
And then cut to the intro.
Which I can no longer skip because I've had to buy the Blu-rays.
Right, no longer on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you had NordVPN, shout out to today's sponsor, NordVPN, you could watch it on Netflix in another region.
Like watching Japanese anime?
Like
NordVPN has you covered.
Japanese anime, Japanime, as I like to say.
Japanimation.
Japanimation. You know,
Studio Ghibli.
Little known fact: the Japanese also say Japanimation.
Mm-hmm.
They also say a lot of words in Japanese, but I can't quote that.
Yeah, they also say Daisuke and
Me love you long time.
And Neko-chan.
Right.
And yeah, me love you long time. Yeah, they also say you want a Japanese girl?
I think you say that. If we're
I
being
got
fair.
accosted. I got accosted one night by a woman asking me that. One night when you disappeared, actually.
Okay. Maybe that's why she felt safe to accost you, because your bodyguard wasn't there.
I was drunkenly stumbling towards the convenience to buy myself a calorie mate, and she kept following me.
Was she attractive?
Well, no, she wasn't offering herself.
Oh, I see. She was working for
It was like a business type thing where, you know, I was probably going to get shaken down.
Definitely shaken down, not stirred.
Not stirred. Anyway, Picard wakes up in a room at least.
Yeah, and it's a nice little set. I like that set.
Yeah, it's cute.
It's got like
Quaint.
These very bright light bulbs that have a bit of an effect on the camera.
Yeah. The lighting is particularly flat there, which is nice.
Yes. Although I will say, unironically, a surveilled prison cell is where I would expect there to be very flat lighting.
Yeah. I will agree with that.
But yes, overall, this was hilarious. And he's there along with some weird looking aliens. There's an alien with a big seam running down the middle of her, a seamstress, if you will.
Well, we actually met one of those in what's the conspiracy one? Was it just called Conspiracy?
I think it might have been.
There was that captain of the ship.
Yes. That Picard was meeting with.
They're called Bolians. Yeah. They're called Bolians. So
like
the
first search
Bolian female we see.
Like the search query.
That's a Boolean.
Oh, I see.
Silly Billy.
Silly Booly. Oh boy.
Yeah, so we have a Bolian named Mitena Haro, who is a cadet, a Starfleet cadet.
Could I get the name one more time?
Mitena Haro?
Nice. Do you remember that, or is that in your notes?
That's my notes.
Oh, damn.
Why would I remember that?
I don't know. I don't think they ever say it. Well, clearly they say it, but I did not remember hearing it.
There's a Misarian.
Right.
Misarian?
Right. Misarian?
How do they say it? Misarian?
Right. With
named Kova Thal.
Also, I remember Thal because they say Mr. Thal, whatever. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, Mr. Thal.
Played, by the way, by Stephen Markle, God bless him, who died from Parkinson's.
Right. I mean, that's why he was sitting down for most of the episode, just so we wouldn't have to see him do the twist.
Hard to watch sometimes, but yeah. So yeah, he wakes up with those two.
Right. Yeah, this is a good time to point out the inspiration for the Mazarian, at least. I know the inspiration for the Bolian was just one of the production designers looking at their jeans and seeing the seam running down the side of it. But
yeah, right.
With the Mazarian, one of our costume designers has seen an advertisement for Sonic the Hedgehog. If you remember that video game character.
Yeah, the little blue guy.
Right, he's like a hedgehog. He's got like a spines on the back of his head. Looks just like the Mazarian, and just like the Mazarians, he's got super speed capabilities, but we never got to see that side of them in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that ended up being used in a video game, actually. One of those point and clicks?
Yeah. Well, the Trek ones, not Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, not
Right.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right.
It was obviously used in Sonic the Hedgehog.
Right. Now, the Trek video game series is a storied history there. A lot of bangers, as they say.
Yeah, like that Voyager third-person shooter game. Or was it first-person? I don't know.
It was first person. I think it was a Quake ripoff.
That's just amazing to me.
You know Quake, son?
How do you go into making a Star Trek game and say, yeah, let's make it a shooter?
The same way you go into making a Star Trek movie and say, let's make it an action movie.
I was gonna say, this is like way ahead of its time.
The only thing I really want to do is to become Tuvok and bust some caps in people logically, because he's a Vulcan.
I really only want to become Darmok.
Darmok isn't a person. Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's I'm gonna be Darmok. You're gonna be Jalad.
Right, and we'll fuck around at Tanagra.
Fuck around at Tanagra and find out. Fuck around and find out at Tanagra.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a t-shirt.
That's season 4, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll get there soon.
That's like end of season 4, I think.
No, it's got to be the beginning. Come on.
It's either mid or end.
All right, really quick. I know we'll get to that in a few months, but the fact that
Can't help yourself.
Darmok is the name of just like one guy that is spoken of once or twice, but is the name of the episode when it's not the name of the captain or the race or the language or anything.
Yeah.
That got me. Oh, it's season 5, episode 2 of season 5.
Oh no! Wow, really?
Yeah. So
We got a long way to go.
Yeah, you were right. It's not close to the beginning of season 4, but I was right. It was close to the beginning of the season. It was a season 5.
Gotcha. Looks like we both won.
As always. You ever
I
notice
was a big fan of the... Oh, yeah, go ahead.
how they always just get fat, out-of-shape people to play every actor on Star Trek?
It's so the audience can relate.
But it's like they always wear these onesies that are kind of form-fitting, and everyone just has a gut. Like, in every series, every actor, it's amazing to me. Anyway, go on.
I was gonna say I was a big fan of the big fan of Mike's decision to put just a big thing of foam around the Miserian's head.
Yeah.
I like to think that he kind of used up all his creative juices on Esok's costume and just said, fuck it. We're just gonna put a big foam thing. Esok, sorry.
And other than the big foam thing, it's just a blue guy in a suit.
Oh yeah, but he has that head texture too on the back, right? So
that's true. It's like a bonnet, a space bonnet.
Yeah. Like there's something going on there, but it's like the foam is it's so obviously foam. It's a little distracting. But yeah, eventually we do get introduced to Esok, who is played by Rainer Schona, who is actually a German actor. One of the most I don't know about most interesting, but an interesting guest actor. He dubbed Optimus Prime in German.
Oh.
He dubbed later Darth Vader stuff in German, so like the prequels and the cartoons and stuff.
Now, wasn't Darth Vader's original actor German?
No, you're thinking of the Dark Vader burger.
No, I'm serious. The guy inside of the Darth Vader costume was some German guy.
No, I don't think he was German.
No, he was, and they...
No, he wasn't.
Listen, you listen to me. So, it's this German guy, and he's reading the lines, and he sounds very unimposing, so they bring in James Earl Jones to dub over him. But
well, yes, you have all that right, but he wasn't German.
Then what was he, if not German?
Hold on. It was David Prowse. He was English.
Prowse? You're gonna tell me Prowse is not a German name?
He was English. I'm sorry. He was from England.
Yeah.
It's Prowse.
I don't know if I believe this.
He was also a bodybuilder. So it's
He
kind
built
of ironic
bodies?
he wasn't imposing. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's fine. The things we do here, they're fine.
He was in a film called Saving Star Wars, a 2004 independent film. The title is a play on Saving Private Ryan in Star Wars. Oh my god. How many dumb, like, Star Wars fan road trip movies are there?
Like, oh, we're making a pilgrimage to the place where George Lucas wrote the first script, or whatever. Something like that.
Something like that, yeah. So, like, they're Saving Star Wars. There's that movie called, like, Fanboys or something.
Yeah. That's fiction, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all fiction. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it is Star Wars, but yes. Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, like Star Wars as a film property, sure, but I don't have any desire to watch all these fan productions of random bullshit.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Because who gives a fuck?
No.
It's like, oh, look at me on my documentary building a set-accurate captain's chair from Star Trek.
Well, I would probably watch that.
You just like woodworking.
I mean, do you not?
I like it when my wood works as opposed to when it doesn't, for sure.
I like my wood to work for me.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Anyway, so Doppelganger Picard redirects the ship from the Hood rendezvous to like an
star?
energy cluster or something.
Yeah, a nebula.
Yeah, a nebula.
Right.
Yeah, and he pulls Riker aside and says, "I can't tell you everything. I'm sorry." And then Riker says, "Okay."
I trust you, Captain.
And is the poker scene after this?
There's a number of scenes that can really be in any order of Picard doing strange things, but I believe the poker scene was first.
Yeah, poker scene was first.
Yeah.
My problem is placing the chronology of like real Picard and fake Picard and like which one happens when. But
well, these things are completely unrelated.
That's true.
Insofar as the timeline, so
that's true.
I
guess we could approach them in any way, really.
Okay. It is rather inconsequential, the order of these events.
Yeah. So the poker scene happens,
right? And Picard, we said this before. He's acting strange, in a way that's apparent to the audience, and he coming to the poker game is the first sign of that because he just never shows up because he's kind of rude.
Right.
Yeah, but then he pulls Troy aside and says, "I'm worried about the loyalty of the crew. Do they suspect me of anything? Am I being suspicious?" It's kind of a weird thing to say if you're undercover, but whatever.
Kind of a weird vibe.
Yeah, these highly advanced aliens are also idiots, so I buy that.
as we come to find out.
Yes.
Yeah, and even before that, he talks to Geordi and he's like, I want to increase our engine output, and he's like, oh, but it's just a suggestion.
Right. Geordi's like, all right, I'll go do it. And Picard says, no, don't go do it. Geordi's like, no, I'll go do it. And Picard's like, okay.
he watches a single hand and then pulls Troy away.
Yeah, that was hilarious to me. Just the timing of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like they couldn't have cut and just established a time skip
right.
of some sort.
I don't know if that's the thing. You don't know if it's supposed to be awkward or if it's just like some mild form of autism.
Well, the way the aliens are portrayed later on leaves the door open for it being intentionally awkward, but I also can't put it past incompetence.
Yeah, exactly.
Now's as good as time as any to note that Patrick, he insisted on getting 2 paychecks for 2 roles in this episode. And
yeah, And he did.
And he got him. More power to him.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I said, he put the work in.
Yeah. That's what... it's kind of like a commission-based salary approach. You make more sales in a sales position, you get more money. You act better in an acting position, you get more money. Which explains why Marina Sirtis was the lowest paid member of the cast.
Right, because she never really acted.
Right, that plus her, in general, being a woman. Lower to pay.
Better times.
Better times.
Men were men, women were women.
It was the golden age of Hollywood.
That's right. I do remember Rick. Rick was the director. Rick was very chuffed with Patrick's performance in this episode. So he had a few people lining up to bat for him on this salary issue, this paycheck issue.
Which is the last thing you can tell an actor. You don't want them to know that they have the support of others.
No, you're always supposed to tell them they're garbage. That's why all the great directors do that.
Right, I could replace you at a moment's notice.
I could replace you at a moment's notice.
Is that your David Lynch?
David Lynch.
Nice. I do... It makes me kind of giddy to think about David Lynch being a complete asshole and getting into arguments with the cast.
It makes me giddy to imagine him showing up on set every day and pulling a ball out of a hat and saying, "Today's number is 8. It's time for the daily weather forecast."
You're trying to film a movie, but David Lynch has to do like 2 hours of daily rituals every day.
He has to do his woodworking, which basically just consists of taking like 3 wooden blocks and randomly nailing them together.
Oh my God.
I don't know if you've seen those videos, but...
I haven't. Have you seen 6 Men Getting Sick?
The David Lynch film?
Yeah.
But I have seen 6 Men Getting Sick in real life.
The, at the bar?
Well, kind of. But wait, what is this?
It's an animation David Lynch made as one of his first things ever.
Oh, you know what? This does ring a bell.
And it's kind of basically a loop.
Right.
But it's of the quality where okay, David Lynch is he's an up and coming guy. Maybe he's a film student at this point, and he's made this esoteric animation of a looping thing that vaguely looks like 6 guys vomiting, and it's so cool. Now, if you transpose that with one of his woodworking videos, insofar as the timeline of his life, like he makes the woodworking video while he's a student, and he makes 6 Men Getting Sick when he's like 70 or however old he is now, 80.
Right,
and I think the general reaction to both would be exactly the same.
Yeah. Have you bought his NFTs yet?
Have I bought David Lynch's NFTs yet? Loaded question, if there ever was one. But no, I haven't bought them yet.
He put out NFTs, right?
No, I don't know that.
Yeah, they're like these. I think they're also loops, but I think they're live action. And yeah, they're just like these short videos that he releases NFTs, and they definitely sold for a ridiculous amount of money, like tens of thousands of dollars at least.
I mean, that's the legitimacy. The artistic legitimacy is the one thing a lot of NFTs are missing, and to have David Lynch's name attached to one. Plus, the exclusivity and such intrinsic to NFTs. Yeah, I would not be hard-pressed to imagine those selling well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, back in real Picard land, in the prison room, they show him the Jello.
Right. Which I want to point out was one of our few on-screen contributions to Trek. The Jello cylinder.
Right. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah, that was kind of our job. You come up with a food that could realistically, be like prison food,
Right.
in the future.
Do you remember?
And
Go ahead.
mm,
No, go ahead.
no, we just thought, what better food than Jell-O? I mean, what's more dystopian, right?
Right. Now, I remember that, might have been Rick, actually. When he came to us, I said, he said, okay, I need something that looks like prison food. And I said, oh, okay. What flavor do you want it? And then Rick started shouting at me because it was for the show and the flavor didn't matter. And how dare I waste his time with a stupid question.
Right.
So. I know.
Can't win them all. But we ended up deciding on cherry.
Yes, an
For
all-timer flavor.
Mm-hmm. And what we did was we took like canned food cans, right? And we cut them. We cut like little molds out from the can and kind of shaped the Jell-O inside them, and then just cooked it like that.
Do you think
it came out nice?
Cook is the right word to use with Jell-O?
Well, yeah, we cooked it.
Cooked it. I'm suspicious, but okay.
We cooked the Jell-O.
Yeah,
we cooked Jell-O.
Did we?
We cooked Jell-O. Yeah, we cooked it.
It just sets. You leave it to its own devices, and it's fine.
You do not remember how to make Jell-O?
I've made more Jell-O than you've ever eaten.
Come on. Okay, come on. Seriously.
Don't test me.
You can tell who's the brains of this operation.
Uh-huh. The brains of the op, huh? Anyway. Picard. Jell-O.
Patrick didn't like it.
No. He made sure to tell us
that.
that.
Was a genuine reaction.
Yeah.
On screen. Yeah, so the Miserian
Thal
tells them that he tried to open the door and it didn't work.
He got stunned? Stun beam?
He got zapped.
Zap beam.
And Picard decides he's going to mess around with the control panel in a different way, right? And he says, I'm going to show them we're intelligent. Not sure what this is supposed to solve, but he tells them, he tells his fellow prisoners, we're going to show them that we're intelligent. And he starts putting in the first 6 prime numbers in sequence over and over again, right? On this little data pad. And a lot of people actually don't know this, but this scene is a reference to a night out at the casino that Richard and Hans had that involved a prime number side bet on a game of roulette. And it's a little dig. It's a little dig from Richard. I'm sure you can imagine what it was, but more importantly, the legends say, and this hasn't been confirmed, and I can't figure it out, but if you play the poker scene backwards and sync it up just right to Blue Oyster Cult's Baby Ice Dog, there's apparently a subliminal message in there from Hans. And it's a mystery that I have seen bandied about on Star Trek forums for decades. And no one has solved it yet.
What do you think Hans is trying to tell us?
He always had very specific fetishes.
Yes, he did. That is a truer statement has never been known.
I remember one time he sat us down in, I guess what you would call the break room. We had a VHS player in there, and he put in this VHS from Germany about it was an animated film that featured these little dwarf gnome things, and they were crawling up a woman's vagina. I looked away after that, but
it wasn't artful. It was tasteless.
Right. It was clearly jack off material, I guess is what I'm going for here.
Right. Hans, he needed to keep his Hans off of me. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Thank you. So then Isak is beamed in there?
Yeah, Isak is beamed in there.
How do you feel about the rubber mask of Isak?
It's a little unwieldy, I guess, but it makes him look like he has like a lisp or something.
Yeah, that and the synthesized voice.
Mm.
What is the name of his race?
I don't know.
Did I write this down? Hold on. We're going to the tape. To the notes. Chalnoth.
Chalnoth.
Chalnoth's the planet. I think Chalna is the race.
No, the Chalnoth is the race.
And Chalna?
Chalna is the planet, I guess, if there has to be a distinction.
I know they say both Chalna and Chalnoth in the episode. I just don't know which is referring to what.
Much like Betazoid and Beta Z.
Exactly. Little known fact, Beta Z gets invaded by the Dominion in DS9.
Yeah, we discussed this.
We did not discuss this.
This has to do with that book about Troy holding a gun.
Oh, what? Really? That's connected to this? Jesus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the Dominion Wars. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. All right, whatever. Fuck the EU, the Apocrypha.
Memory beta
makes me say EU.
Yeah. Isak. That's right. Yeah, Isak. So the Chalnoth are a warrior race, much like the Klingons, except dumber somehow.
They're more anarchic.
Yeah. They're basically just a whole race of anarchists with no government, and they just kill each other all the time, I guess.
Right.
Which makes you wonder how they could even be considered a civilization at all.
Well, that's what's his face, Thal's point. You know, he doesn't get along with Isak.
Right, because he's a pacifist.
Right. And Isak doesn't like him either. That's what he says. I don't like you either.
He says you best watch yourself.
That's right.
Tries to eat him.
Then I guess it cuts back to the Enterprise where Picard... He either goes to Crusher first or he goes to 10 Forward first.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these scenes yield quite spectacular moments.
He goes to Crusher first.
Okay, and he says, "Look at me, I'm fit as a fucking fiddle. You want to jump my bones?" That's the conversation they have.
Mm-hmm.
And Crusher says, "Yeah, sure. I'll sign up for that dome. Give me some of that dome."
Yeah.
Do you feel uncomfortable with Picard flirting with Crusher?
No, not really.
Really?
Okay. Do you?
Yeah, mildly. It's just kind of gross. You don't think so?
Why is it gross?
It's just Picard. He's old. And he's not as old.
Kind of rapey.
No, it's not rapey, but it's just he's old. I don't want to think about him having sex with my wife.
I know you have a problem with age gaps.
I do. I almost as big of a problem as I have with thigh gaps.
What's going on here is basically grooming.
Right. Which is second only to grooming. Insofar as terribleness. You have grooming and then you have basically grooming.
I thought the scene was I think the intention here is that these are things that Picard can imagine himself doing but doesn't do.
Yeah, I buy that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're like these kind of innate traits that he pushes down within himself, kind of withholds from other people.
Because
so
it's clear that the alien that's an imposter Picard has some knowledge of Picard and his personality and such.
Right.
So with that in mind, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he would have feelings for Crusher, that he would have I don't know if it's a sea shanty or whatever, but some old rallying song for the crew. these are all. It's not so impossible that Picard would have that facet of his personality, but it would be more
they also
suppressed.
seem to have like some kind of they have some like kind of telepathic connection to him where they just know his entire history too. So I did think it was funny that he just basically kicks her out almost apropos of nothing.
Yeah, that was awesome. And I think that's where it not really coming through as being explained. That's where that hits the hardest. Of like, what was the point of that? Why not? Like, you're studying communication and courting rituals, maybe, but you don't really see it through to the end.
I guess it's to further drive home the point that they're just awkward. They don't really know what they're doing.
The offists.
Yeah. Which there's not really a point to it, I guess, in terms like in the grand scheme of the episode. There's no real point to portraying these aliens as stupid.
Right. In the moment when you don't know really the nature of the alien or anything at all, it works just fine because, you know, you're confused the whole time. He does something confusing that heightens it. It's like, okay. But once you go back and think about it with the knowledge of how the episode ends, that's when it is the most vexing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
and, you as an audience member want to see Picard lay some pipe.
Right. Even if it's imposter Picard.
Yeah.
You just want to see him get his heart wet. Get his dick crushed.
Get his dick crushed.
Picard, it's 1800. It's time for your dick crushing.
Yes, Doctor. All right, back down in the prison. Isak is getting antsy.
Right, because he can't eat the food, which we later find out is by design.
He literally tastes it and yells "poison" as if you can tell from the taste of something that it's poisonous.
Now, I've always been curious if Isak was actually poisoned by that food, or if he was just portrayed as a picky eater. Kind of like you give a kid vegetables and they're like, poison! I can't eat this.
That's what I figured. That's what I figured. But the episode almost makes me think that it was supposed to be poison. He just knew from a little lick. Just because of the prosthetics, he couldn't fit it in his mouth.
There's no way to...
There's a line...
Go ahead.
There's a line here that Picard says, right? Picard says, he says, "How long can you go without food?" Because Isak is threatening to eat Thol.
Right.
And Picard's entire mission here is to kind of diffuse everyone and escape, obviously. So he asks Isak, "How long can you go without food?" And this was actually a little playful dig at Frakes, because one day he was pulled aside by Rick Berman, because he had noticed that Frakes was starting to gain considerable weight. Something that
would not subside for years.
Right. And I know he wanted to avoid any further weight gain as much as possible, partly because of image, and then partly because of the costume expenses. Having to change the suit every couple episodes was not financially feasible. So yeah, Rick Berman pulls him aside and asks, "How long can you go without eating?" Trying to nudge him,
right? Subtly,
and maybe a little too subtly, because Frakes just responded by saying that he could go several weeks. He was very proud of it, but we filmed this scene while we had Marina kind of just lure Frakes outside, so he wouldn't see it, and we all kind of just got to enjoy it ourselves, which was nice.
Things are sweeter when you enjoy them without Jonathan Frakes, or at his expense. Either or.
Yeah, certainly.
Well, I mean, maybe I'm out of line for saying that, but
Well, I don't think anyone would disagree with you.
He's just a presence, but not a present.
Present. Yeah.
Right, yes.
His presence is not our present.
No. His presence is our liability.
And, they call him 2 cakes Frakes, but he never brought any cakes for us.
No, 2 hands, 2 cakes, 1 mouth. When you hear your family.
It's like the whole 2 scoops incident,
Yes, which lives on.
That's why that triggered me.
Indeed.
Because I thought of the 2 cakes.
And you thought of Frakes.
Yep. Now, why does he get to have two cakes?
Now that's quite the fact or fiction. Frakes tells the story of that time he shoved 2 whole cakes in his mouth, and then he's like, this one's real. Oh, jeez. So our next scene, displaced from time that could happen literally anywhere in the episode, is Picard going to 10 forward and singing with the crew.
Now, before he sings, I was unprofessional. I was chewing on ice. Before he sings, he announces to the room, "Ales for everyone." And someone responds, "Oh, thank you." And I'm sure you can see why this is
Yes.
an unreasonable scene for Star Trek.
At least in the Federation. But yes.
yes, for the Federation, yeah.
Yeah, pay attention to your own fucking canon. Your own lore. It's post scarcity and everything's free, but you can still treat us to things.
Maybe ales are extra. Maybe it's just standard issue synthahol until you're
You got to pay for the
a
good stuff.
ranking officer. Yeah. Maybe that's how it works.
I mean,
Maybe that is how it works.
I could see it. Little carrot, little stick.
Right.
Give him something to aspire to.
You work hard, you get better alcohol.
Work hard, you play hard. You play hard, you work hard. Oh, jeez. So, do you remember the song?
It's like, "Cheer up, my lads."
Yeah.
Cheer up, my lad.
You remember a line.
I don't. I remember one line.
"'Tis to glory we steer."
Here's to glory we. Yeah, cheer up, my lads. Here's to glory we steer.
And then it goes on from there. It's appropriately shanty-esque.
Is to add something new to this wonderful year.
Yes. Yeah, pretty simple melody.
And then he says, "To honor we call you as free men, not slaves," and he looks pointedly at Geordi.
Yeah, that was a strange directing decision, but I appreciate the thought that goes into these episodes. A very memeable scene. Lived on very, very far beyond any knowledge of allegiance. Is that the one where Picard sings for some reason?
Right, yeah. I think this is the scene that's taken, that lives on in most people's memories from this episode. And it's funny, I guess. There's a very funny sting that happens at the end of the scene where Geordi sits down at Riker's table with Troy, and it's very tense, and they're like, "That's not the captain." Comes to commercial.
Meanwhile, he's still singing.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very funny juxtaposition.
I liked that moment in particular as a how do I describe this? I mean, that juxtaposition of tone was appropriately unsettling, I guess.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm not going to begrudge it.
No, I'm not begrudging it. It's just, it's funny.
Steady, boy, steady.
and then they decide to mutiny, I guess.
Yeah.
Even though Worf says we shouldn't mutiny, then they mutiny anyway.
They have a secret meeting in presumably Riker's quarters. And yeah, Worf says that we do not have sufficient evidence for mutiny. And then all it takes is a stern look from Riker, and Picard just mutinies, shrinks down.
On the planet.
Yeah.
Did you have something else to say?
Well, I was going to ask how you feel about Riker's ultimate decision to mutiny, because I think the episode does do a relatively good job of not giving them such probable cause that it's actually a decision to be made. You know, like Picard's not killing people with a knife or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all pretty logical.
Yeah,
you know, Riker knows that he's kind of going into this blind, and he could basically lose his job for it. But
I enjoyed the threats from fake Picard
right.
on that subject. It's like,
right.
Do you have enough evidence to convince the board of inquiry? Which it's like, yeah, I don't know if he does. It's like I had this weird feeling about the captain. Ultimately, at like the very end, it kind of tips over the scale when Picard tells him to crash into that fucking star. But
verbatim, by the way.
Yeah, but up until that point,
the fucking star, Ensign.
Up until that point, it's an actual question, which I enjoyed.
Yeah, sure. But yeah, once he does start threatening him, it's kind of solidified, and you're like, okay, well, I guess it's time to.
Yeah.
I mean, not that the audience doesn't already know this, because down in the prison room, which I assume is on some planet or something, Picard has basically figured out that what's her name?
The ensign?
Yeah,
the cadet.
Haro, yeah, the cadet is one of the aliens that's observing them and has taken them as prisoner and become their doppelgangers or whatever.
Through a nice little callback to previous episode. I enjoyed that.
What's that?
Well, what happens is that she is telling the other captives about Picard, and she mentions some of his previous exploits, and she mentions the Who Watches the Watchers, that the events of that episode. And
okay, yeah.
Picard ultimately later on, because you see him kind of react to that, and he makes the point that was classified enough that they wouldn't be talking about it at the academy or whatever. And then he goes on to mention something that we haven't heard about, which was completely classified, that this person ultimately purports to know. And they don't say, oh, this is Captain Picard from Season 3, Episode 2, Who Watches the Watchers. You know, obviously they don't say that. But if you remember, the name of that planet is name dropped, and it's all accurate. So to me, it was a nice little callback.
That's cool. Yeah, I didn't notice that. I remember because they referenced what he had just done, basically, right? With the, I don't know, whatever. But in any case, the scene before that, the scene before what we're talking about now, is basically where you know that there's something up with her, and then he turns to her and is like, "All right, I'm done with this. Fuck it, stop.
This game is over. I'm not playing." Taking my ball and going home.
And so that forces them to suspend the experiment. They take him back to his ship where he confronts his doppelganger. And he gives his crew a meaningful look.
Indeed. Which is half of Picard's repertoire.
I guess so.
Look. This is the worst conclusion of any episode in any season of Star Trek.
This made me so angry.
It's so aggressively dumb, is how I would put it. It's fucking awful.
So the bridge crew traps the aliens, who look awful, by the way. They look so stupid.
Yeah, they got like tube noses and spandex.
They look almost as bad as Golem Lol. And the bridge crew traps them in this little tiny cylinder on the bridge, and they start doing the Dragon Ball Z scared sounds. You know what I mean? Where they go like.
That's not the image that came to my mind, but yes, I do know what you mean.
They start like looking around very quickly and touching the force field incessantly, and be like,
So you're saying this scene didn't work for you?
Not by a long shot.
I would say that what really, really annoyed me was how the idea of, okay, so the aliens, like, we have this mental communication. It's more efficient than your verbal communication.
Mm-hmm.
And Picard says we have nonverbal communication, which still is not as efficient as your mental communication, but whatever. And that means that we're on your level. Like, this was not mentioned anywhere else in the episode. It's not a theme of the episode.
Right. It gets pulled out of their asses
right.
at the very end.
The way it's portrayed here is that this is what the episode was about, when that's just not at all true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Totally. That's absolutely right. And the double whammy is that you have these aliens that are obviously much more advanced than the Federation is, and you just immediately get to make them look pathetic just because.
Right. It's like, no, you're not supposed to outsmart us. What?
You're right. They can teleport by themselves. They're stuck in a force field?
It's a very strong force field.
Oh, man. The more we discuss it, the more it pisses me off.
And it's funny because this this concept of a higher power race studying the Enterprise and its crew as like lab rats was done in that Nagilum episode.
That's right.
Where Silence has lease.
Mm-hmm.
And
or if you're me, where science has lease.
That's right. So it's not even novel onto the series.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed the episode largely leading up to the ending, but that final 3 minutes, even 2 minutes, just really dropped the ball.
It's like they suddenly decided we need to have a theme.
Right. Okay. The nonverbal communication of the Enterprise is so strong. I guess it might tie into the idea that they were able to perceive Picard as not being himself through his nonverbal cues. I don't know. I give up. But just come and cheer up my lads.
Crusher seeing his dick twitch under the table.
And then getting cock blocked by the alien itself. It's like, no, you can't jump his bones. It's our job.
Also, yeah, what was with that ending with Crusher?
Yeah,
it was
both.
It was like a sitcom ending.
I mean, the look Riker gives him is the same thing. Frakes' other facial acting is
little smirk,
glib smile.
Yeah, but Crusher never comes out of the bridge.
Never.
Not like that.
No, and just takes a seat, usually Troy's seat,
right.
Hereby known as the woman's seat.
The woman's seat. Yeah. I hate that ending.
So do I. And I think I kind of failed to accurately explain why this episode, I was kind of lukewarm on it. And the more we talk about it, how a lot of the events don't have a clear chronology to them, how the ending just doesn't have anything really going for it, it's starting to make more sense.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of chronology, though, it's not so unusual for an A plot and a B plot to be kind of separate.
No, but I think the A plot also lacks a meaningful chronology.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's just a bunch of examples of, well, I don't even know what the A plot's supposed to be, which one it is, but in one plot, it's a bunch of disjointed scenes of Picard doing wacky things, and in the other, it's a bunch of disjointed scenes of wanton infighting, and getting shocked by a door,
Right.
basically.
And what ultimately is a fruitless struggle, as there's really no reason to open the door.
That's true too. Yes.
So it does feel like a meaningless kind of episode in a lot of ways, even with an intriguing catch to it. I don't mind a lot of the ideas behind the episode, but a lot of the execution was just not there.
Yeah. I mean, now that we've gone through it, I kind of can't help but agree. But again, I like Patrick. I liked Isak especially.
Isak reminds me of the Nausicaans, the guys that stabbed Picard in the heart later on.
Of the Valley of the Wind.
If that helps you.
It does.
But there's a lot of just tall, brutish race in Star Trek.
Why didn't they just have Picard get stabbed by a bunch of Isaks?
A bunch of Isaks, like the same guy cloned.
I'm going to meet you in 30 years.
Oh, God. All right, so how many saucer seps would you award this episode?
You go first.
2.5.
2.5. I would do it like a little bit higher, but it's probably less than a 3.
All right, so 2.75.
Something like that. Yeah. You really soured me on this episode.
I did it. I mean, it wasn't me. It was the episode.
Sure.
Don't blame me.
Yeah. When you realize that it's not that the episode has to have a message, but when they shoehorn it in like that, or like a moral, when they shoehorn it in like that, it's so cynical.
It's certainly worse than no message, no theme.
Yeah. If we're just gonna watch wacky Picard things, then just make it wacky Picard things.
Hell, there's about to be 3 seasons of wacky Picard things.
Our next episode is more wacky Picard things, actually. So.
That's the Pleasure Planet one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's where we have to buy some young 20-something being super into Patrick Stewart.
I'm sorry, Patrick Stewart is an attractive man.
No, I mean, yes, he has
You
attractive...
just went to bat for Daniel Craig for like 20 minutes.
Patrick Stewart, I think... How do I want to say this? He's not attractive in the same... His attractive qualities are not strictly the physical qualities. Like, they're there to an extent, but it's a lot of the front that he puts on of being like a cultured individual, which ultimately we know he's not. But
all right.
The idea of this like older, experienced, cultured guy, who knows Shakespeare and is a good actor, is attractive. But to just go by, if you saw him just on on a lawn chair on a pleasure planet, you wouldn't like be immediately drawn to him. You know what I'm getting at?
I don't know. Women are weird.
Women are weird. And that's the freeze frame cut to credits.
Audience laughs.
Yeah. But laughter takes us out.
Yeah. I wish laughter could take us out today.
Like an assassin?
Yeah, yes. Exactly. But I have trivia for you, so I can't.
Sock it to me.
Alright, so this is about Isak's outfit.
If there's one thing I know a lot about,
It was Isak's outfit would be modified and reused for a character in Deep Space Nine, a recurring character, mind you. The question is who that is.
Am I allowed to Google a picture of the outfit on Isak?
No. I'll get it for you though.
Okay. My immediate reaction is General Martok.
It's not General Martok. Hold on. Let me get you like a nice
Alright.
picture. A nice picture.
A nice picture. It better not be Morn. Is it Morn?
Oh, it is Morn.
Yeah, okay.
It is Morn.
Fucking Morn. Do you know the deal with Morn?
They basically just take everything off of the fucking outfit.
Right.
But yeah, it's Morn. I know he's a drunk.
He's always at Quark's bar, and the running joke with him is that he never speaks. He's got no dialogue, but characters always refer to him as being, as going on, being verbose, telling a lot of jokes.
Oh my god.
And they'll be talking to him, and it's like, oh, what do you think, Morn? And Morn will, like, open his mouth to talk, and like, don't tell me. They'll cut him off. And it's like, you never get to hear Morn speak. Now, there is a somewhat humorous episode. I think the title is like Morn's Dead, or Who Will Mourn for Morn? Something like that.
Oh god.
And it involves Morn's death, and it's pretty humorous. I wouldn't say Morn adds anything to Deep Space Nine, but he's certainly a character that recurs.
Sounds like a bit that we would do.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
You know what would be funny if we had this alien that like never talked?
But everybody says that he does.
Yeah. So I guess in that way I have to respect it. But he does look like he's in a big fat balloon muscle suit.
Yeah, he looks inflatable.
Mm-hmm.
The some Morn physiology trivia is, and this actually ties into some Greater Trek trivia, but the latinum in gold-pressed latinum is a liquid that is pressed into gold.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is that you can crack the gold open and drain the latinum if you need it. So anyway, Morn, through a convoluted series of events, keeps a large store of liquid latinum that he got out of gold in his second stomach that he can just vomit up to produce payment if he needs to.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like if you asked me what the answer to this was going to be, I would have been able to guess it.
The answer to what?
Well, I mean, like what's so special about the Morn and fucking latmium or whatever?
Latinum. Yeah.
I feel like I would have been able to guess that like he has an organ that synthesizes it or something.
It is. I could see that. Once you start watching Deep Space Nine, we can get this friendship off the ground.
Can't wait.
I can't wait either for our next episode next week, where we watch another episode of not Deep Space Nine, but Star Trek The Next Generation, which is our current generation. Until then, I want to thank our sponsors, Denny's, home of the Grand Slam, Moons Over My Hammy, and the Tauntaun Men, and also Pep Boys, home of the 3-minute oil change. You can mention the term Readier at either of these establishments for 15% off of your purchase. We also wanted to thank our other sponsor that we mentioned earlier in the video that I forget. Is it NordVPN? It was NordVPN.
That was the NordVPN, yeah.
Right, NordVPN. It's a very personable number. That's what the VPN stands for. And also use contact code Readier for 10% off of a year's worth of subscription to that. Next week we'll be back with more episodes. Until then, please take stock of what really matters in life. And with that in mind, stay Readier.
The troublesome little man-child.
I stand before you defrocked, condemned to be a member of this lowest of species.
Thank you, Ensign. Engage.
Do you consider yourself superior to us?
falsely? Do I not appear more intellectual?
Computer, freeze program.
Have you never dreamed of climbing inside the bottle?